Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we're talking water issues and the legislature with Kyle Roerink. He is Executive Director of the Great Basin Water Network for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
All systems check. All right, Sam, let's go check out some D&D roof.
Hey, Ken. From up here, you can really tell the difference a quality D&D roof makes.
You're right, Sam. With our experience, knowledge, and staff, nothing compares to a D&D roof.
Hey, look down there. It's our D&D roofing crew.
I'll bank the plane so we can get a closer look. Sam! You watch your company's bottom line, and I'll cover the top of it.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're delighted to welcome back to the program Kyle Roerink. He is Executive Director of the Great Basin Water Network and former press secretary to Dina Titus, now the Dean of the Nevada delegation. That's got to be pretty impressive to you as well as it is to everybody else.
Well, you know, her poise and stature and experience, it's no surprise, but of course it is impressive, and she has always been a trailblazing woman, and you know, at the top is, you know, where she belongs in terms of her acumen and savvy in the political world. And I was lucky to have, you know, worked under her and learn a thing or two about Nevada politics, to say the least. And
you know, because she's in the first district, not a lot of people in northern Nevada know her as well in the general public, but she has become an incredibly influential person in Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. You know, I think her name ID in northern Nevada is higher than most people assume because of all the years she spent in Carson City. And you know, when I first moved up here, you say Dina, and people remember her, and they know her because she is that trailblazer and kind of top-notch person. So.
And we've been very proud to have her on this show for
Absolutely.
many years. So let's talk to you about the Great Basin Water Network and this legislative session. What were your goals going into the session, and where did they end up?
Yeah, well, you know, our goals going into the session, you know, it's binary. It's, you know, kill bad bills in our opinion, and try to put forward legislation that seeks to achieve our goals of ensuring that we are doing more to conserve our water resources in the state. And so, you know, looking back, you know, I think we were very successful this year in ensuring that, you know, we are maintaining the integrity of Nevada water law and the foundations that Nevada water law is built upon, and not changing those. And there were attempts to do that, and we had to go on the attack, and we were successful at killing a number of bad bills that I think, whether you were a senior rights holder or you're someone who cares about the environment, I think we've had a lot of success there. And for those bills that we were supporting, there was a bill sponsored by Assemblyman Howard Watts that essentially requires to have major water purveyors do audits of their infrastructure and make sure, you know, I mean, every drop of water counts in this state. And so, you know, this is a bill that essentially says you gotta, you know, really get in there and look under the hood, per se. And so we got that passed, and it also required to have more efficient plumbing appliances and things like that. And then Senator Goycochea had a bill to require a 10% reserve in basins that are not in basins that still have water that's available to be appropriated, and that bill is going to become law. So I think it's really there was a lot going on, and it sure was fun to be a part of the conversation.
And I should point out, we're taping this on the last day of the session,
That's
so
right.
there are still things that could happen in the remaining 12 or 13 hours.
Fingers crossed.
But
yeah.
yes, fingers
You
crossed for
never
you
know.
on that. It was interesting because in some ways it was almost Democrat on Democrat warfare in certain ways in this session, and it was reminiscent to me of when Senator Reid had 60 votes in the United States Senate to pass Obamacare, but ended up with 3 dissenting senators who demanded certain things for that to go through, and it kind of proved the point that you don't just need 2/3 majority to get things done. You may need a higher percentage, which probably you're never going to get to. But you've got Clark County that is going to have water needs, obviously going into the future, despite the fact that they have done, and I think everybody would give credit to the fact that Clark County's done an incredible job of utilizing the water that it receives from the Colorado River and returning it to Lake Mead in an incredible way. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. I mean, we have the 300,000 acre-feet allocation from the Colorado River Compact, and we essentially get 75%, an additional 75% of that. So, almost, a little more than 200,000 extra acre feet a year on top of our 300,000 acre feet allocation. So, it is very impressive, and I never deny that the Southern Nevada Water Authority is a leader in conservation. But what we always say is that you shouldn't, steal water from Eastern Nevada to, continue your operations, and that's why we are in litigation with them and have been for years. But I always stress that I think they do a lot really, really well, and I think the drought contingency plan that was just passed by Congress, the Southern Nevada Water Authority helped usher that in with the upper and lower basin states, and I think they did it with a steady hand. And I wrote letters to our congressional delegation and others applauding what the Water Authority did and what they've done to put us in a really good position, I think better than other lower basin states. So again, yeah, we have our differences, but I won't deny when I see them doing good things.
Were you surprised Imperial Valley didn't sign off on this?
I don't think so. I think the Salton Sea issue is one that's going to take a while to figure out, and those guys at IID have some juice. So
to say the least.
It was just I think unfortunate for all the folks who worked on that to not have everybody singing Kumbaya. But it's water in the West. How could you ever expect everybody holding hands at the end of the day?
All right. So as you look at Southern Nevada, Las Vegas in particular, there's going to be growth. We know that in the plans, the valley is going to go from approximately 2 million people to a little over 3 million people as we progress. The Southern Nevada Water Authority says that they have the water to accommodate the growth that's going to go towards Ivanpah. That has been on the books for a long time.
Yes.
It went away during the recession, and then the expansion of McCarran with Terminal 3 delayed that by quite a few years, maybe even decades. But eventually there's going to be a need with the growth in Las Vegas to be able to accommodate a second airport and all the growth that will go along with that. Do you guys support that?
Well, and I remember you've had Mr. Ensminger on this show,
yes, many times,
speaking about that issue, and I think we are not opposed to growth. What we are opposed to is just wanton sprawl for the sake of it. I think we have to start thinking about water as an impact. Every time you build a new home, every time you build a new strip mall, a new development, a new airport, you have to think, what is the impact of this going to be, on the Colorado River and on our long-term water supply? And what does that mean? So if you are building out and putting yourselves in a position where, you know, it's going to require you to go to eastern Nevada and get water that shouldn't be appropriated under the law. You know, that's when I have a problem with that. If you're going to create such a demand where you are going to put a greater strain on the state as a whole. And I think we have to go back to John Wesley Powell. We have to go back. And, you know, we live in a desert. And we need to be mindful of that. You know, if this was the Northeast or the Midwest where you have, you know, enough water for eternity, yeah, that's fine. But we don't have that luxury right now. And so I think we have to live within our means.
But they you know, say that they have the water to accommodate this particular portion of the growth.
Yeah, you know, I think we have to really look at the impacts, because you know, everyone's always going to say that they have the water to do it right now, or else no one would be interested in developing it. But you know, I think more time, more studies, but there will be, undoubtedly there will be impacts, and whether that's on flora, fauna, or human life, you know, I think there will certainly be a debate surrounding that.
Your former boss, of course, was famous for the Ring Around the Valley, which never ended up happening, but the idea being that you build upwards instead of outwards. But there doesn't seem to be any talk of that going on in Southern Nevada these days.
You know, as an homage to her, you know, I bring that up from time to time, because I think, you know, she understood and she gets it. She knows that she's living in the Mojave Desert and representing those people, and she doesn't want to jeopardize, you know, current residents. But she also understands, you know, what our economy is based on, and so I think, yeah, the building upwards rather than outwards is a great way to, you know, it's a great framework to begin with. But that's not happening. You know, I think we need to be conscious of the BLM lands that we're disposing of under SNPLMA, and, you know, what habitat.
Let's spell out the acronym there.
The Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act. And so I mean, yeah, there's a lot of factors at play here, and, you know, that's one of the reasons why I love this area of policy, is because it gets to the core of who we are as a state and as a community.
Are you concerned about the Lands Act that Clark County is trying to get done?
You know, we are not. We're not wading in on that policy right now. As it's moving forward, we're certainly taking a close look at it again, because, you know, we have to think to ourselves, what will the impact be for the long run, and what will, you know, more people, you know, living in our community, you know, tens of thousands of them, what will that do to our long-term water supply? You know, one development that we're certainly paying attention to still is Coyote Springs, and, you know, the state.
And that's been shut down, you know, at this point by the the state water engineer.
The state engineer, they're working through a process. I mean, there's still a fight to keep it alive. You know, that's not going away quietly. And right now, there are some administrative proceedings on the Lower White River flow system that could ultimately be the final nail in the coffin for Coyote Springs. And so, you know, that's one that we're involved in. We're actively participating.
Yeah, for those that may not be aware, this is a 20,000-acre development that was going to be a city for 200,000 people at one point. That was being pushed by Harvey Whittemore and the Cinos, and now the Cinos own the entire property. And it was kind of a shock to a lot of us when the water engineer pretty much shut down that project, because they'd already built the golf course, and it was just the recession we thought that was going to impact this. Yeah. And once the recession was over, the growth would be able to occur again. And the engineer said no.
And I think one of the big assumptions about Coyote Springs that isn't often talked about with it was that, you know, the Las Vegas pipeline, the 300-mile, $15.5 billion project that my organization has been fighting for many, many years, you know, that was going to be the lifeblood of it. Now, there are some aquifers there, and you have the Muddy River there, but really, I mean, that was the pipeline in its heyday was going to be a major feeder of that community.
All right, let's take a break. More with Kyle Roerink. We're talking water, the biggest issue in the state of Nevada. We'll be right back.
Tamarack Junction is South Reno's hotspot with over 450 of the latest slots and video games. Sully Sports Bar, the Dining Car Restaurant, William Hill Sportsbook, and the Tamarack Steakhouse and Lounge. We're just north of the Summit Mall in South Virginia.
Yeah.
Because of UMC, I'm putting my free time to good use.
Because of UMC, she keeps me on my toes.
Because of UMC and this guy, I'm here.
UMC, the highest level of care in Nevada.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
The Tamarack Junction Steakhouse is known for signature steaks, handcrafted cocktails, and world-class wines. Join us Thursdays and Friday nights from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Steakhouse Lounge for live music, gourmet plates, and well-priced wines, just north of the Summit Mall on South Virginia.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Kyle Roerink. He's the Executive Director of the Great Basin Water Network. So let's talk about the ranches that the Southern Nevada Water Authority owns in eastern Nevada. So they actually own the water that, would, if it was ever built, flow into that pipeline. So, when you come to a question of ownership, is that not correct?
They own some of the water, but they have filed applications for other unappropriated waters there. So
in fact, back in the day, they filed for everything that was available.
They filed, 800,000 acre feet of remaining water, and that's been pared down since 1989. But yeah, they certainly do own some water, and when they bought those ranches. It's an interesting way to describe it. Everyone said they were buying the ranches to, get their foot in the door. And in some ways, yeah, that's true. But they were also buying those ranches to buy out protests. And when you look at our litigation, we have dozens and dozens and dozens of names, on our litigation, kind of page one of any court docket, and so many of them, those are protestants. And so some of the ranches that they bought, those were some of the most important protestants in terms of geographic location and ownership of water resources. But yeah, they do, and they have ranching operations.
It's real ranching operations. They have cows.
They do.
In fact, the irony of this is, according to published reports in the Las Vegas Review-Journal over the years from Henry Breen, that these, not only are they having working ranches, but they are also helping other ranchers who don't have the resources that they have to have best practices.
Well, I think if you were to speak to a lot of people out in the community in eastern Nevada, the people that I do, I think it's a little bit more acrimonious than that.
I think there's certainly huge opposition, but I think that they have worked well with their neighbors, shall we say?
I think that's still up for debate. 'Cause I hear differently, but that's the way it is.
I'm just going on.
One of the big
Henry's reporting
one of the big concerns is just kind of the inherent advantages that that ranching entities owned by the water authority get. So they're exempt from certain taxes. They have ratepayer funded coffers that your truck breaks down. you just go into the coffers and you get, you get some more money, you get yourself a new truck. Where, folks that I speak to, it's not that easy. It's very hard to eke out a living doing what these folks do out there. And one thing that we're trying to figure out is, how much ratepayer dollars are being spent on these ranches. The Clark County ratepayers. Do they really, how many of them actually know that they're paying for, sheep and cattle out in eastern Nevada? So it's interesting, and also quarter-cent sales tax funds we would like to see, how much is being spent out there on those ranches.
All right, we'll bring in Senator Reed into this discussion.
Oh boy.
After we take this time out.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. At Design Outdoor, we specialize in all hardscapes, pavers, and walls you'll need for everything, from wonderful small yards to full-blown outdoor living. And we only refer the best contractors to make your vision a reality. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and because I represent men in all family law matters, women often call me gender traitor, woman hater, and even disgusting. So why represent men and target myself with these offensive monikers? It's simple. Children with fathers in their lives are 6 times less likely to drop out of school, 15 times less likely to go to prison, and 5 times less likely to commit suicide. So ladies, you can hate me, but please love your children more than you hate their fathers.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor, full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Kyle Roerink. He's the executive director of the Great Basin Water Network. It didn't get a lot of coverage beyond this program, but Senator Reed, in one of his last meetings with the Las Vegas Metro Chamber when they do their big annual visit to D.C., made a point, a very strong point, that he said that the #1 job for the Metro Chamber was to get that water from eastern Nevada down to southern Nevada, because it was much more valuable flushing toilets on the Las Vegas Strip than it would be utilizing it for watering alfalfa in eastern Nevada. What are your thoughts about that? Because nobody has been a stronger supporter of the environment than Harry Reid.
It's really a shame, because if you look at the science and you look at the impacts of what this project will do, it would be a decimation, a desecration, and just unmitigated destruction. And the courts have said that the damage that would happen there, you cannot mitigate it, and that's why we won in federal court. So you'd be looking at what we call a trophic cascade of just death.
Okay, hang on. What's a trophic cascade?
It's essentially just wiping out species. We have 157 threatened, or 157 endemic species in the region, 20 of which are threatened or endangered. So say goodbye. Then you're threatening Great Basin National Park, Moapa National Wildlife Refuge, Pahranagat National Wildlife Refuge.
Okay, but now, all right. So you are more than welcome to give us this long list, but the reality is that Great Basin Park came into effect because of Harry Reid's efforts. So I don't see him looking to destroy one of the monuments to his career. And we've seen with the DACE down in southern Nevada that there have been tens of millions of dollars spent trying to survive this fish that, you know, there's 150 of them at the last count. It goes down, it goes up, it goes down. I look at this and just go, that's an incredible amount of money. Before man arrived on the planet, species came and went. It's not just what man has done that is part of this.
That's very true, and that's why it's so head scratching for us that you've had such a great effort put into conservation and protection of these species, of these great public lands, and then we have the science clearly yelling and screaming at us saying, what the heck are you doing? And so it is a great paradox and contradiction, and that's why we're working our way through the courts. That's why we fight in the legislature. That's why we fight in the regulatory realm.
And this discussion will continue on this program for many years to come. And
I look
hope
forward
you'll be a
to
part
it,
of
Sam.
Thanks for being.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And we'll be right back. A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
St. Ives Florist, for every holiday and every special occasion, for romance. Custom home design. We have the largest selection of fresh flowers in northern Nevada, and we also offer a large selection of unique gift items. Come see me, Lori Ann, at St. Ives Florist, 700 South Wells Avenue, or call me at 333-9190.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Don't forget, another way of watching Nevada Newsmakers is to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. We'll see you on the next broadcast.